Hello Aries, and welcome to your September forecast. I hope that this month is getting off to a fantastic start for everybody. I like to start off every video just by saying thank you. Thank you to all of you for liking, subscribing, and especially for those of you that decided to donate $1 to help support these videos. So if you haven't already done so, there's a link below, and it will be the second link that will allow you to donate either through my website or Patreon. I just want to say thank you. These videos are made possible by you, so please consider doing that if you like what you see here. With that being said, let's get into the channeled information. Every month as I start to meditate and tune into the sign, I'll engage in automatic writing, which is a way for me just to connect with my intuition and see what comes through. As I was doing that for you this month, here's the information that I received. It's really important for you to release emotional hooks. Those connections that you make with people. These hooks might be ones that you've made and also ones that other people have kind of made to you. And by doing this, you're going to not only sort of free up your own energy, but also open up your vitality so that you're focusing more on development and moving your own sort of higher good, higher path forward. And so another word for this is courting, but I use the word hooks because usually these are the sort of events that happen when we can't let go of something. It might be a disappointment at school, at work, a breakup, sometimes when someone makes a remark and it just kind of gets in under your skin. And even though we try to kind of like let it go, there's still a little piece of us either holding on to how we felt when we received that information, or anger or resentment towards that other person. And what this does for us is, if you could sort of see the cords you have, it holds you back, it pulls you down, it kind of like really makes your energy just sort of come down a notch. So what I want you to do this month is imagine that if you close your eyes, see yourself blessing, healing, and releasing each one of these sort of events in your life. And you don't have to like physically see the connection, but what you want to do in each moment is just think to yourself, I've learned what I needed to learn from this person, place, or thing. I no longer need to hold it in my energy or my heart. I want to open that up so that other things, better things, can come through. And in your meditation, by blessing it and letting it go, you're also healing that other person. Both of you are going to feel more vitality. Both of you are going to feel an improvement in your life. And this is a wonderful thing. So please try it. I know it's easier said than done. It's a little different than forgiveness. This is gratitude for the experience and what it taught you. And it's sort of a roundabout way to forgiving and releasing. Okay? Let's go ahead now and take a look and see what the cards have to say. As you know, I split this into a few parts. I'll go through that really quickly. We just did the channeled information. I'm going to take a look at the Celtic cross for the month, and then I expand it. I look at a catalyst card, health, wealth, love, and destiny. I'll get into each of those as we go into the reading. Right now, let's go ahead and shuffle the cards. And at this point, I like to remain quiet and just observe what needs to come through at this moment. In addition to everything that's in front of me, I also like to use this catalyst card to draw connections, to see how everything is really going to come together, and also maybe one way to either avoid or embrace some of the energy of this month. Really not avoid, I would say avoid any sort of unnecessary issues and embrace the positive opportunities. So we have this perception card here for the catalyst, and really what this is encouraging you to do is to see if there's another way to look at the situation. Are you taking things either too seriously or too personally, or allowing for too much emotion to be present? Or perhaps could you be in a point where you could embrace something from a different perspective, and all of a sudden it seems like things are lining up for your benefit rather than sort of to kind of attack or hold you back. And this really is the key difference between people that are sometimes happy or can push through things or are successful, and people who find difficulty in just kind kind of getting through the day to day. It's seeing that everything that we've either called in or that has somehow come into our space is there as either a lesson or an advocate or some way to help you. So perceive things differently. And you notice here in this perception card, there's a butterfly here in the corner. That is the transformative element. If you think that you can do something, you have a much higher chance and likelihood of actually accomplishing that. If you already believe and therefore sort of like will it into being that something's not going to happen, then it becomes more difficult for you to do something. Let's go ahead and take a look at each card one by one. At the end, I'll turn the camera down so you'll get a chance to look at and study the locations if you want to. But let's get into the messages first. Your central card is the Strength card. This is one of the few decks where we actually see a male presence here. This is usually more of a divine feminine card. So what we're looking at this month, a little bit more in pushing through to manifest, because what I see here with this masculine energy here is the ability for you to execute upon things, to step forward, to speak up. There's still the divine feminine element in this, but I really do see a lot more action happening this month and a lot more focus on your body. So if you're at a point in your life where either you've been too busy, maybe you've been neglecting yourself, you're not feeling as well as you normally do, this is a good time for you to focus on physical well-being, and then also when it comes to situations in your life where there might be challenges, to standing up, to really focus on standing up for yourself, speaking up, and taking action. Now, the card that helps you kind of figure out how to do this is the Knight of Swords here, and it's a visionary card, which I like. And what's cool about knights in general is they don't really sit. They make things happen. They bring messages. They make things happen. So having, again, that masculine energy plus this active energy, the Knight of Scrolls, or in this deck, the Knight of Swords, I really want you to focus on the delivery of your communication, because that's what Swords is about. And that's why in this particular deck we see Scrolls, because it's all about your words and your thoughts and how those come across to others. So what's going to be very beneficial this month is taking a little bit of time before you actually speak, but then making sure that when you do, you say something with confidence, knowing that you've done the research, that you're coming from a place of equal importance as someone else. So you have a seat, you have a voice at the table, and don't be afraid to speak up. Looking at what's affecting your energy this month, we have the Ace of Stones, or the Ace of Pentacles. And with this, I want you to know that there is, the first thing that I'm getting with this is, again, strength. I think it's tempered by that Strength card in the center. But strength in valuing yourself and valuing others. And what I think some of you might be doing this month, or challenged to do this month, I should say, is to model the behavior that you're expecting others to do. So we're in a time right now where not everyone is sort of courteous. People might speak out of tune, or out of place rather, and may sort of put themselves first. What you want to do here is really try to set a good example of understanding, or trying to open yourself up to understand conflicting points of view, to appreciate, to value those points of view, and then you can insert your own thought, information, or approach. But what's going to happen first is you letting other people know that you hear them and appreciate them, rather than just sort of stepping in and saying, this is the best way to do it. It's interesting that in several decks you'll see stones for pentacles, because to me, I'm getting the idea of throwing stones. So I want you to be careful about how you use your words and your throwing out ideas. You want to make sure that people are ready for them and it doesn't take them by surprise. So I think what's going to be very important, in addition to sort of like letting people know that you value them, is to set expectations, to set things up this month. If you're going to have a difficult conversation, or if you're going to try to create some sort of a shift, set the mood, set the stage, do the work, and then stay solid and know that you've done everything that you need to. Preparation is really key this month. It's always helpful, but especially in September. All right, so as we're looking at the energy affecting probably the first week here, looking at your recent past here, sort of the work that you've done to kind of get this month into motion, we have the 10 of Wands here. And it's interesting that we see spirals in this deck, because for some of you, you're looking back on all of the work, all of the patterns, all of the things that have got you here, and many of you are ready to break a pattern in your life. This could be a chance for you to move to a new house, a new job, or just maybe to take on some sort of a new responsibility. With the 10 of spirals, the 10 of wands, it's always kind of a crossroads card where you're thinking, do I want to kind of push through and see what the next level is in my current whatever relationship, job, or situation, or do I just want to take a risk and go after something that really feels good to me? And there's no right or wrong answer here, but I see a lot of you ready to move into that brave new world, whatever it is. So taking a risk on yourself, taking a chance, and trying something new. You have another ace card. So we had the Ace of Pentacles in the deep past. We have the Ace of Swords here in your crowning position. And it's interesting that you see a crow on this one. When I see this in the upright position, it's about positivity. If it were negative, I would say, or if it were reverse, I would say try to avoid the negative. So for you, two things. Stay positive and don't be afraid to affirm, repeat, or stay steady in what you're trying to communicate. Consistency and I would also say repetition is going to be really important. So if people try to sort of move around you, push you aside, or aren't listening or aren't hearing, make sure that you restate. You don't want to be sort of like a broken record, because this can be really annoying for everybody and even condescending. So what's better here is to make sure that you are listening, seeing where things might not be understood or received from the other point of view, restate them, but stay firm again in where you're at. The other thing here, we've got all of these. I'm going to pull the camera down for a second here. So when I see the Strength card and it's connected to communication and resources, and then right in the middle here we have this Action card. You really are going to have this chance this month to take your resources, take the work that you've done, and somehow pull these together. So what this reads to me for those of you that might be in a small business or maybe even in a long-term corporate job, it's a chance for you to step out and try something new. I see a project or a service or some big idea that might be something that you can launch over the course of the next quarter of the year, since we're edging up upon the fourth quarter of this year. Okay. Now we're getting into the interesting stuff when we're looking at ego, when we're looking at motivations. This month we have the Four of Cups in this deck illustrated by mirrors. I like that there's mirrors here because really what does the Four of Cups represent? It's reflection. And sometimes we get confused by all of the mirrors, all of the reflections in our life. Normally the Four of Cups, you see something kind of floating or just within your grasp, but you're focused on something else. So this month, what I want you to do is think about what's important to you and see where you might be either distracted or spending energy, time, resources, since this is here in your deep past, and thinking to yourself, is this a good use of my time and energy? Also realizing that one of the elements of the Four of Cups, which can be an illusion, which is why the mirrors are here, is this feeling of if I could only be this, or if I could only have that, or if I could only do this, then I would be happy. And the Four of Cups is really reminding you to be present, to be in the moment, to kind of drink in everything, especially since we have cups, which is to experience things. Are you experiencing things? Are you present? Or are you sort of so burdened or kind of distracted by the things around you that you're not really understanding what's in front of you? So meditation, active listening, time, just to be with yourself, to rest. Again, that's why I think meditation and sleep are going to be integral to your success this month. So really focus on being in the moment, and I think that's going to give you the information and the intuition that you'll need to sort of move your compass in one direction or the other. As we look at your environment this month, we have the Wheel of Fortune, one of my favorite cards, and I'm sure many of you as well. So you're at the precipice this month of a major shift. I think some really good things could be happening for many of you when it comes to work. At the very least, a change. So if you've been stuck, an opportunity for something new. If you are stuck, this card encourages you to take action before something else happens. Sometimes the wheel can usher in bigger changes like the Tower if you don't take action. But by and large, it's a very positive card showing usually growth, movement, and shifting when it comes to money and resources. The other thing that I see when I look at the Wheel of Fortune card is usually a new start of an annual cycle. So often we sort of associate New Year's as the only chance to end and begin things. What I'm really seeing for you this month is a chance to sort of create a new template for yourself, and it could kick off right now, and it's something that we're going to see over the next 12 months. So a big shift, especially as we look at one side here, the 10 of Wands, movement, change, and some sort of a catalyst in your life, and then another card here showing that that is happening over the next 10 to 12 months. So embrace that and realize, for many of you, this should be happening no later than October, because I also associate the wheel with harvest and the 10th month of the year. So this is a good time for you to kick things off and maybe set a little goal for yourself. If there's anything that you've been really wanting to embrace in your life, that's the time to sort of put the energy into it. I would say September and October. As we look at hopes and fears this month, we have our second Knight card, this time the Knight of Wands. So we have the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands, again showing that sort of marriage between thoughts and action, this being the thoughts here. And also just sort of a general note for you not to get too burdened down by your thoughts, too buried into all of the what if I do this or what if this happens. It's good to plan ahead, it's good to think things through, but don't feel the weight of these thoughts sort of impeding your ability to move forward. On the flip side, I think that for some of you that are either very creative or in like research and development, or just at a point in your life where you're trying to figure out what's next, maybe you're retired and thinking, what are my long-term plans? Great month for planning, great month for making reservations and getting things started. Again, especially for anything that you're going to begin in October. Let's move along now to your near future and your outcome. I'm seeing the near future as a key to the outcome card. When we look at this, we have the Egyptian goddess for justice. Upon your death, you would meet with this goddess, Maat, and she would weigh your heart against a feather. If you lived a life where you kind of felt free from hurting other people, you were kind, you achieved what your purpose was on the planet, you left with a light heart. There wasn't this feeling of unresolved karma, of regret for things that didn't happen, of guilt for hurting other people, etc. If you lived a life where your heart was heavy because of kind of like the reverse of everything we just said, maybe you were selfish, maybe you hurt someone, maybe you did something that was wrong, then you had these sort of feelings of regret that weighed it down. This month, use your heart as your compass. Try to live life so that if you were kind of facing this goddess, you would feel light, you would feel free. Don't act out. Don't hurt other people. Try to take the road less traveled of forgiveness, of kindness, of modeling the behavior that you're looking for in others, even if they're not doing it to you in return. Knowing that at the end of our lives, I believe in this isn't part of the myth, but I think we're the judges of our own, like in our own life review. We look back and we think, did I do what I was wanting to do? With like everything that happens to us is sort of like a PhD course that we've set up. Some things are really fun, some things are really challenging, but we've called all of it into existence. So try to walk through these as lessons. Don't hold resentment, anger, etc. And that goes back to the channeled information, which was focus on release this month. Let the heart be light. Do activities that bring joy in your life. Use the passion in your heart to accomplish the goals that you want, to spend it on people that you care about. Let the heart be your guide this month and let it bring you to a higher path. In doing so, you will find your passion, your power, and you're going to be able to start the path of manifestation. To me, the magician is the first step in that. The high priestess has a little bit more ability to bring about manifestation, but with the magician card, it's there at your, it's not at your disposal. I'm going to say it's within reach by the end of the month. The interesting thing with this is I really see this as a chance to hit reset, or to basically take what isn't working this month and make it work. So this is a chance for rebirth, repurposing, renewal, whatever you want to look at it. And coming through the end of this feeling like, wow, I have a lot that I'm grateful for and a lot of opportunities on the horizon. Doing this will set in motion all of these opportunities that we saw here in the environment or the Wheel of Fortune. One other note with justice, usually when it's in the reverse state, it can indicate separation or wanting to step away from something. The upright position is really putting that in your court. So when you're looking at situations in your life, maybe it's a love relationship, maybe it's a job, or maybe it's another piece of your life where you just think to yourself, I think it's time to give this up, or I think it's time to let it go. This card is reminding you that you have the power to say yes or no. One thing I forgot to say about this goddess is she was basically the gatekeeper. If your heart was heavy, you didn't get to proceed. You were not allowed in the afterlife. In this, it's more symbolic. It's sort of like if your heart is heavy, the path that you're on right now isn't suiting you. It isn't working. So she's coming through this month to say, balance the scales, trust your heart, honor your heart, and this is going to set things right, even if it means stepping away from a love relationship, a commitment, or something that you wanted to do. Sometimes you have to decide it's time for a change, okay? So by and large, a very good month for you. Again, it's all about how you perceive the challenges, the opportunities on your horizon. Interesting that she's looking at a gem or some sort of energy that's the color of the heart space green. So a lot of signs and signals to heal the heart space, to follow your intuition, particularly when it comes to the deep knowledge of the heart. Ancient Egyptians thought this was the seat of knowledge. I think your intuition can kind of be here sometimes too. It's not just the third eye. It's sort of, do you feel it within? And I think that's what they were homing in on back in the day. So let's expand your forecast. We'll begin with your health being mind, body, and spirit, and messages that can kind of help you really maximize those areas of your life. So let's see what the message is for health this month. Your health message is to really focus on what's going on in your body, to take time to listen to all of those little things that are going on. So for some of you, maybe you've been feeling something that you've been ignoring because you think, it'll get better, or it's just this, whatever. I want you to not play doctor. If there's something wrong, take care of it. The other thing here is with awareness, it could simply be an opening that's happening. For some of you, you might be experiencing a third eye opening, or you might just be a little bit more sensitive. As we open up our intuition, sometimes we get these sensations. I talked about some of that in my intuitive development series, where you might be feeling unusual sort of sensations in your body. If you're empathic, if you're in the presence of someone positive or negative, you might see a shift happening. Pay attention to these things and see what you can do to manage your own energy, and also see what happens when you maybe don't surround yourself by certain individuals or situations. Does that impact your body and your energy in a positive way? Whatever is going on, you want to pay attention and don't sweep things under the rug this month, because there might be something important that you could miss if you're either too busy or not listening to yourself. You're going to be the best possible guide for getting healthy and happy, but you have to take the time to listen to yourself, to your body, and honor what feels right. So this can also be for those of you that might be engaging in some sort of health activity or diet, and if it doesn't feel like it's right this month, you need to sort of honor that as well. So if your body's saying yes or no, listen accordingly to whatever that message is. Let's go ahead now and look at your wealth. For me, wealth is really opportunities when it comes to career, money, and resources in your life. So let's take a look at what that is for you. Your wealth message this month is change. Now, I know some of you may be nervous when you see the death card, but when it's coupled with the Wheel of Fortune in the environment, this portends something good, or a positive change in habit or approach when it comes to money, resources, and jobs. So if you're retired, this could be a new way for you to look at your money or your spending habits. If you're in a job, this could be, again, a chance for you to step out and try something new. I get a feeling that some of you may be itching to do that anyway, so don't be afraid to do so. For the rest of you, this is a chance to sort of think like, am I happy with where I'm at? If I'm not, what am I going to do to kind of like break through this? And know that if you embrace this and if you follow your heart, then positive shifts happen for you. Some of you, again, this is taking your power back. So, if you have a working situation where either your coworkers or your boss constantly make you feel less than, this is really encouraging you to say no to that. Some of you, this might be even affecting you on a mental and spiritual level, and so you have to push through that and think enough is enough. Whether that's to stand up or to quit or whatever, there's a shift that needs to happen for many of you. No matter what, this is going to put you in a better place than where you were, so embrace the change, embrace the opportunity, and see what's on the other end. All right, let's take a look now at your love. For me, love is about relationships with people that you care a lot about. This could be romantic. This could also just be intimate and important, I would say close relationships in your life. Let's look at the message and see what is coming through in respect to this. So we have another card of change here. We have Shiva the Destroyer. So what's important to think about here is Shiva brings about things that we don't necessarily want to see. Sometimes these are truths, secrets, intentions. And once they come to light, then we are freed from the illusion of whatever came through before. So Shiva destroys illusions. Shiva opens up opportunities. It's a healing energy, really, but there is a destructive element to it. So this destructive element could mean a relationship that ends. We talked a little bit about that earlier when I was looking at justice. It could also simply mean that you're going to transform something into something better, possibly. So you really want to just look at this as a window or a portal through which you're going to travel. And as you go through it, you're going to learn things that are going to change the dynamics. So see this as a creation card just as much as it is a destruction card, because I see death as transformation. And in doing so, then you're going to own your power this month. Again, it's all in perception. Those two death cards or those two transformative cards for me just mean that development, change, and opportunity are really what this month is about for you. So I'm encouraging you to embrace the positive and powerful elements of transformation this month. The two areas that it's coming through loud and clear right now are your finances and your relationships. So embrace that and see what it means to you. Let's look at the next couple of cards and we'll see how this all factors out for you. So we looked at health, wealth, love. Actually, there's just one more card. This is going to be your destiny card. And this is sort of like the big so what for the month. Why is all of this happening and where am I headed towards? The catalyst card kind of helps you understand how the connections are. This is like, why am I going through all of this? So if you like the direction in which you're headed, the GPS, so to speak, then you can stay on this path. If you don't, this card can help you course correct. So it's also your chance to sort of execute or operate free will. And this month, your message is peace. Let me just hold it up here so you can see it. I know the White Buffalo Woman text is the largest, but if you look at the bottom there, you'll see peace. And so I mentioned earlier about modeling behavior, even if you don't see it. This is really what this is about. So I also feel that some of you, if you look, there's a little bit of a story that we're seeing with all of these cards. The first thing is becoming aware of situation. This could be, or your feelings about things, how it's affecting you on a personal level. Then as we look at where you're working or what's going on with money and resources, there's a change that needs to happen. This is going to affect relationships both in business and personal, and then ultimately it's going to give you peace of mind, I think, and create a balance perhaps where there wasn't a balance before. So really great month. I love that it ends on a note of peace and harmony. The thing that you must remember with this card is that it's up to you. You have a chance between peace or war. You see both elements illustrated in this, a shadow and a light element. So ultimately, that's your choice. What's important to you? I mentioned that there are things that you have to stand up for because strength was at the center. So I think that sometimes bringing something to light and fighting for that, and there's a difference between fighting for something that's important and just fighting. And I think that's really what this card is trying to underline. If it's a battle worth fighting, go for it, but don't make it personal. Make it about the bigger issue. And that's what this peace card is about. Ultimately, the goal of bringing something to light should be to let it ultimately go, to resolve it, to move forward. Let's review everything that we talked about this month because there's a lot to unpackage, I know. The first message that I got as I was tuning into your information was to let go of whatever it is that either you're holding on or maybe other people are holding on. This could be a vendetta, fear, anger, frustration, resentment, knowing that in doing so, we can embrace what we see here with the goddess here of justice in Egyptian mythology, that idea of being lighthearted. Let's turn the camera down and look at every single card and their sort of proximity so you can understand the meanings. Your catalyst this month was understanding that you can make whatever you'd like to of this month. If you want to embrace the positive elements, they're there. If you don't think it can happen, it won't. Remembering, again, a big message this month is heart happiness, strength, and information that's flowing through your heart chakra. Pay attention to that and know that you have an ability to transform things accordingly. As we look at the center, we have strength, and it's tempered by the Knight of Swords. So really being able to speak up for yourself, but doing so in a way, as you can see, it's connected to the Justice card here, that is fair, that is right, that is just. Knowing and doing so that you're also going to be able to move on here, the Ten of Wands. All of this is going to allow you to access two things that are at your disposal this month. Your energy, your time, your resources, and ultimately also your ideas and what will become sort of an execution of those ideas, because we have this Knight of Wands over here and the Knight of Swords here that will eventually help you achieve what you want. Again, the whole idea of perception this month with the Four of Mirrors or the Four of Cups. Don't be blinded so much by the distractions around you that you miss something that's right within your reach. The big opportunity this month is to change, embrace, and improve all of the opportunities around resources, knowing that you're kind of resetting and starting a new one-year cycle. Don't be afraid to come up with new ideas. Just don't second guess yourself so much this month. This card is good, but it can also be one that shows you getting weighted down in your thoughts. Finally, and most importantly, the outcome card this month really speaks to your ability to get back to a state of manifestation, knowing that being lighthearted, following your passions, it's really what's going to open up the connection between these two. We talked at pretty good length about the story that's taking place here. It starts with awareness or understanding, knowing that what's going on in your life is having a direct impact on how you're feeling and ultimately what your health is like. Knowing that for some of you, there needs to be a change in your relationship to spending habits, money, and planning for the future. And it doesn't matter what step of your life you're in, this is a good month to sort of review budgets, plans, and long-term goals. Knowing that for many of you, this is going to involve a change in your behavior in a relationship. It might also be a great time for you to bring something to light, whether it's something positive or negative. Shiva's there to help you make positive changes and shifts in your life. It's a transformative element. Ultimately, this brings across the sense of peace, of fulfillment, and that really is what this month is about for you, to kind of straddle this position between fighting for what you want and then ultimately feeling like, okay, now I can rest, now I can get on to the next thing. And that's really what we talked about in the channeled information, again, was that way of letting go. And it's something that has to happen within, for many of you within your heart space, because until you feel it, till you really mean it, it's not going to happen. So that brings this monthly reading to a close. I hope it gave you the insight, the energy, and hopefully the sense of confidence that you need to move through this month, having a little bit of an idea of how to maximize the opportunity. And that really was what's coming through for you, is there's a lot of opportunity. Before I get to sort of like wrapping everything up, just want to remind you that if you like what you see here, I mentioned earlier, this is very much a viewer-supported channel. So you can like and subscribe. That's a great way to sort of show support. You can also donate to this channel, and you can do so through either Patreon or through my website. Donating as little as $1 makes a big impact and makes everything that you see here possible. So please consider doing that. So if you look below the video, there's going to be 3 links. The first will allow you to schedule an appointment if you ever want to talk about something in your life, a big change, a big decision. I'm here for you. The second one is to give back, and I mentioned a couple ways that you can do that. The third link is a way to stay connected, because more than anything, I really want you to continue this path of growth. So feel free to join me here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as well as my newsletter. All 3 links will help you get involved and give back if that's something that you'd like to do. And finally, this is my favorite part each month. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing on yourself. And this month, I really think the message for you is that power is within your reach. It comes from understanding what's important to you and putting sort of an emphasis on feeling good about your decisions, not allowing people to put you on a path where you feel less than or feel like you're doing something that's wrong. Really listen to your heart this month. It will not misguide you. It will bring you to a place where opportunities and manifestation is at your fingertips. Keep working on yourself and keep sharing this love, this light, and this insight with other people on the planet. I think if we do this, we can continue to improve and shift consciousness. That's why we come here every month. That's why I come here every month. I hope it's why you're here as well. Wishing you much love and light now and always. Thank you so much. I'll see you again next month.